Hey everyone, welcome to our small footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a family of 8 who live off-grid in Australia. Today's video is going to be all over the place. So this was supposed to be a Sunday chat, catch-up type, sort of a thing. And then life happened. So I've got a whole bunch of footage on Sunday to do that sort of chat and everything, but then my camera overheated, and so I had to use my iPhone for part of it, and then I was hand holding this camera for a bit thinking I could, but it's pretty wobbly, so the video is going to be a little all over the place. But it's our catch-up sort of video, so bear with me, and we're going to go through the gardens, we're going to go through the kids' pool for summer, and the new Aiper vacuum cleaner that we got for the pool. I've going to introduce you to the goslings and all the new chickens that have hatched, and the back deck. So after we finished the extension, we were going to do a back deck. We were only sort of halfway there, but we've gotten a whole lot further, so I've got that to share with you as well. So bear with me with my sort of all over the place video. It is Sunday, and I have, over summertime, I generally do a Sunday chat. Through winter, I don't necessarily. I haven't really got around to it, but over the summertime, when there's lots of things changing, I generally try and do a Sunday chat. And I just wanted to do a bit of a catch-up on a bunch of stuff before I go for the next supply run. So there's been lots of questions about a whole bunch of things, so we're going to just try and cover a myriad of things. So firstly, I'm out in the garden. Now, disclaimer, because I get it every time I show the garden. Our garden is always a mess. It is never pristine. There's always pots, empty pots everywhere, projects half done. It's frustrating. Believe me, it's frustrating. I hate the fact that it's never perfect and that it never looks nice, but it is what it is, as I always say, and I know a lot of people will get up at me about that. How can you just allow things to be? But this is what we do. So we are, if you're new here, which is the people who tend to comment the most, we have 20 acres. I have 6 children, I homeschool, I work from home, a whole bunch of side hustles, and I really want the garden to take off. But the very first year that we got here, we did lots of small different gardens. We've upgraded, and we had one year that was absolutely just fantastic. We had like 200 tomato plants and 80 zucchini plants, and I had produce coming out my ears. And every year since then, things have fallen over. So we have spent money each year trying to figure out what is going to work, and just not quite getting there. So last year we changed our methods, and we put in raised beds rather than in-ground market style beds, which are these big beds behind me here. Now, the idea being that the gum trees that are everywhere and the root systems aren't going to impact the beds as much. The problem being, though, that we then needed irrigation for them that was different to the drip tape that we had used for the in-ground beds because the height factor. So then we were setting up irrigation, and we didn't get it done. We didn't get the irrigation in last year at all. So we were hand watering, and then we have these, what they're called bush rats. So they're almost like little possum-like creatures, and they come in and they eat the fruit off everything. They just devour seedlings and the fruit off everything. The plants will stay there. So like all my pepper plants were big plants, but they'd eat every single piece of fruit off it, and nothing worked. So in the end, I sort of gave up. I just went, I got what I got, and that's it, and whatever. So this year, the plan was to get the irrigation sorted and to get some covers for the beds. Now, like all plans, especially plans in my little corner of the off-grid world here, things don't happen. So we had planned to do this over the winter so it was all ready for spring, and just there is a lot of projects that need doing all the time, and we didn't get there. So we have got a couple of beds covered, and we've got beds halfway done, but we still haven't finished. So there's a lot of empty beds here that we will figure out. I've got a whole lot of flowers started, so maybe we'll just have flower beds. I've got soil to top them all up with, but I'm not doing it until I put stuff in the beds. And I could do just some low covers on the beds, just draping stuff over them, for things like radishes and stuff like that, so that we're actually getting some use out of the beds as well, but we will see how we go. I'm going to show you the really fancy covers that we've created though, which are amazing and are going to be so great once we get them all done, but at the moment we've only got one solid prototype going, but I'm going to show it to you. So the other thing we did though is that we did wicking beds last year for the first time, and they worked great except that they all got eaten out of as well. So we have some wicking tubs. I'm going to turn you around for a second. Okay, so we've got these wicking buckets, and I do have a video showing exactly how I made these, so I'll try and remember to link that in the description. You'll have to excuse, we've been putting cardboard down as it comes into the house to create some weed matting pathways, and as I said, everything's in flux here. It's always in flux. So we've got these wicking tubs, so I'll link the video, but they've got a water reservoir in the bottom, some sand, and then soil in the top, and this is what we're growing some tomatoes in so far this year. So these tomatoes are indeterminate tomatoes, and basically we've put 3 tomatoes in each tub, and they will use each other and the cage as a trellis. It's not going to be the easiest thing to harvest from. I'm not going to be able to prune them particularly well, but this is what we're going with to try and at least have some sort of a success at getting some tomatoes. So we've got 3 tomatoes of different varieties, and this one's even got some flowers on it already, which is neat. So 3 tomatoes of different varieties, and each one there is a label in there somewhere, and some transferred better than others. The seedlings did get a little leggy before I got them out because we just didn't have things ready. And then we've got this aviary mesh all the way around, and we've got shade cloth on the top to try and keep the birds and the bush rats and everything out of them. But the plants are doing really well, so that's looking good in each tub. I'm pretty happy with how they're looking. So we've got those to start with. I've got a couple of beds here that have not much in them. This is snapdragons from last year, but I've just left them. I don't know if I'm supposed to cut them back at some point. I'll have to have a look at that. We've got a single silver beet that's sitting there for some reason, and mostly empty beds there because it's kind of pointless to plant stuff in there when they're not covered unless it's something like flowers. So we do have 2 of the wicking beds that were completely sorted. This one needs topping up, but Darryl's making a frame for me with it, which is what this metal thing is. So he's going to put a cover on that one before I put anything in it. So this one is hinged. This is what our covers look like. They're hinged to one side and they lift up, and they'll have hoops over them, which I'll show you a finished one over there, but that's going to go on there, and he's going to do it for this one too, because things like, so I've got this lovely dill plant here. It keeps on coming back, but something just keeps on eating it all the way to the ground as well. So this bed just has dill, a whole lot of comfrey, which I use for making salves and stuff, and there's some horseradish there as well. So this bed was a bit of a bitzer bed, and you can see there's cabbage moths flying around everywhere, which is another reason why we need covers. So these wicking beds are going to be, hopefully we can get all 4 done and get frames around them and finish these off, and then that way I'll have these to grow in as well. But you can see all the empty beds around in here, and it might just be that these end up with cold weather crops only, because by the time we get any framing done. So we've pulled some of this shade cloth down because Darryl's been using it for other things, so it's really low at the moment. It's not hung up properly. There's a lot going on. These are the 2 beds that have covers. This was a first try at a cover, and the cover works great, but all we did was we put like this door in it here. So this door lifts up, but it only goes from to here and to there, and getting into the rest of the bed is really difficult. So I actually put Kavik in the bed to plant the stuff in the sides, planting stuff that I knew, like these are peppers, so we're not going to need to do anything with them for a long time. The cucumbers I didn't think would take off very well because the weather's getting warmer, so I put them in there thinking, oh, we'll get what we get. And then I put silver beet, and I've planted some radish seeds and stuff in here that they haven't come up yet, just to have something extra. And there's some kale there. Again, it's a bit warm for kale, so it may not do anything, but it was what I had at the time when we did this bed. But this is the significant prototype of what we've done. Really happy with these. This is going to be great when we get more done. So it has a metal frame around the bottom of the bed, and the whole frame lifts up. Now I do want to get a handle of some sort because I do find it difficult to get my fingers underneath it, but the whole bed cover lifts up just like that. Isn't that just amazing? I'm really happy with this. So we've put wire in the corners to stop anything coming up in the corners of the beds, got the square frame around it, and then that frame on top. It is very fiddly to make. we are going to try a slightly different method the next time and see how we go. But it was a lot of work to make, but it's going to be worth it. So this is zucchini that I've just planted out, I think it was yesterday. I still have to mulch the bed though, but there's some zucchini in there. These are Cocosel zucchinis, which are like a stripy one. They're my favourite zucchini. So this bed, again, we're not real sure what we're going to do because it has the trellis behind it, but we can't frame in the trellis. So we're probably just going to put a cover over it that opens this way. I don't know, I'm not sure what we're doing, but I do need to put a cloche or something over this. This is I think it's an Argy lemon or an Argy pineapple chili plant that has come back from last year. So before it starts fruiting, I want to put at least a cloche over that to keep that healthy and nothing eats it. But we haven't done anything else with these beds yet. I did plant this one out today though, because a friend bought me some boysenberry plants. So I decided I'm going to put them within this bed, and I know they're a spreader, so at least they'll stay in this bed for the moment, and then I can harvest canes and put them in other places if I want to fill another bed with it. But we're not going to get enough covers to have all these beds in use this year, so I thought that it was a really good way to just use the beds even though we can't get the covers on them, because the boysenberries, they're not going to need the covers, and if they need anything I can just put insect netting. I don't know how they'll go whether with the bush rats and that, but they're quite heavily thorned, so I'm hoping they'll leave them alone. And there's just a small pepper plant I think that's a guajillo pepper that came back from last year, so I'm going to let it go and see what it does. Again, I might put a cloche over it. The boysenberries aren't going to take up this whole bed quick enough that plant can't have a little bit of a push. So that's pretty much it for the garden at the moment. So even though it looks quite lush in the background when I had the video the other day, there isn't a whole lot in it, and it's late afternoon, so everything's a little bit wilty, needs a bit of a water. But that's what we've got going on. But I'm really happy with this prototype bed cover, and I'm really excited to get more of them done and try and figure out a slightly better way to do it, because it's quite arduous getting the wire wrapped and all that sort of thing. So we're working on it. But this one doesn't really work because you can't access the ends of the bed. But we're going to leave it for the moment, use it as it is, do what we can with it, because it's still covered, and that's the main thing. But this is what we're going to keep on going with. And then those wicking beds, those buckets, and maybe I need to do just a whole lot more of those wicking buckets, but maybe I need to figure out a way to be able to access them without having to take the whole thing off. So one of the things that we try and set up every summer is a pool. So you can see behind us we've got this pool set up. Now, the first few years that we were here, we set up one of the cheap, like Kmart, $129 ones. They were only like 70 centimeters deep and 12 foot across. And we just bought a new one each year. They were like $129. We decided to upgrade. Now, we actually upgraded last year, but we never got it put together. We had a lot of issues. Every time we do them, we have a lot of issues with keeping the chlorine right and keeping the pools clean, because of so much dust and dirt and everything else. So we didn't end up doing it last year, but it was still sitting in its box waiting for us. So then I got contacted by Aiper for their pool vacuum, and I sat there and went, oh, that would work really well to help us. So we decided to get the pool set up this year. So the pool, this one is a 1.2 meter high and it's 4.8 meters across. Now the pool fencing isn't up yet. We've just got wire, it's hard to see, there's wire surrounding it to keep the dogs from damaging the pool, but we don't have it full of water yet either. So once we get the water sorted, we will get the fencing up, and we've got pool gates and all that sort of stuff. But for the moment we're just getting it, hooked up. So what the thing is though, that we have to fill the pool 1,000, like there's flies everywhere this morning, with our 1,000 litre pod. So we have to go and fill our 1,000 litre pod up and then pour 1,000 litres into the pool. So this is a 19,000 litre pool. So we need to do 18-ish at least, possibly 16 to get it above the point where the filters are going to work, 16-ish trips to get enough water in here to be able to run the sand filter. So that's what we're working on at the moment. So we're still putting it together, we're still getting it full, but we have got enough water in here to start testing out the vacuum, which is amazing, because at the moment, with the fact that the filter can't run because the water's not deep enough, there is issues with cleanliness of the water, of course. So there's lots of sand and dirt and stuff sitting on the bottom because the kids bring it in, the filters aren't running, we can't skim it and things like that. when Darryl saw the box, when we pulled it out, so it was inside a box inside a box sort of thing, and then we're opening it, he'd been putting off putting it together because he just didn't want to put it together, but it all comes in one piece, which is just like amazing. Not having to put tracks on it, not having to set it up in any way. It had charge in it already, so we could turn it straight on and set it up with the app. So it comes with an app that you can adjust things on and see your cleaning schedules and all that sort of stuff. We probably won't use it too much because we just don't really need to in our particular circumstance, but it's got some great options in there to be able to manually set cleaning schedules and all that sort of thing. So the app is just done through the Wi-Fi network, which is great. It was all in one piece. It comes with a hook that you can put on the end of one of your skimmer net or whatever else, so that you can pull it out of the pool without getting into the pool, though, you know, we never have children who won't be willing to get in the pool to grab it out, but it's great for being able to do that regardless. And with the way the pool is, then you'll be able to reach it from any side of the pool, so that's really good too. So we were very pleasantly surprised that it just came out without needing anything, any sort of construction. So when Aiper contacted me, I did a whole bunch of research on this vacuum cleaner because I don't like to take anything that I'm not going to be able to use. And there was some really great features that I was like excited to try with the pool, to just try and see if we could keep the water, you know, better over the span of the summer. So it has a horizontal waterline cleaning system even in a vinyl pool like this one, we haven't tested it yet because we haven't got enough water in it, and I'll show that to you again later on in the summer, but it climbs the walls with the tractor treads, and then it sort of hovers at the top of the water and does like a skimmer. So it does like when you've got one of those skimmers on the edge of the pool that sucks all the bugs and leaves off the surface as well, which is fantastic because it's not only going to clean the bottom of the pool, but it's also going to clean the water surface as well. And we get a skimmer net and stuff, but, you know, children, and that's not always the best way that they do it, so, you know, that sort of really worked. The other thing was the suction power. It was a lot higher than a lot of the other ones I was looking at. It is 100 gallon per minute suction, which you can see as it's running along the floor. Sometimes it sort of pauses and lifts its nose up, and it's like the vacuum is pushing itself down, so it's got more contact with the surface area on the bottom of the pool, so that suction has been really good. And it has seemed to have pulled everything up that we wanted to, which we tested because it also had a dual filtration system. So one of our biggest issues with the pool is not even the big like roughage stuff that's in there, because the kids can pick it up. It's the sand. The amount of sand that we get into that pool, even with the little bucket where you wash your feet before you get in. The sand is in the air, the sand is on the kids, it's everywhere, and nothing picks the sand up. We've tried those, you know, the creepy crawly vacuum cleaners, which kind of sucked because you had to have them plugged in, and all those sorts of things, and nothing ever worked. We still ended up with this layer of sand in the bottom of the pool. This filtration system has an ultra fine filter that is supposed to collect sand as well, so we're testing that out this morning too. It has a whole bunch of cleaning modes, so you can choose it just to clean the floor, or you can get it to clean the sides and the top of the water, and it has eco modes and all sorts of things. So you can choose how you want it to work that way, which is great when you're wanting to just do a quick clean of a morning or a quick clean of an afternoon, or whatever you want to do that way. And the app lets you select the cleaning modes and things like that. But one of the massive selling points for us is, like when I mentioned that the creepy crawly type thing, is that this one doesn't have to be plugged in to use. So what I can do is I can put it on charge in the peak sunlight hours of the day, and only run it of a morning or of an evening. So when the kids have been in the pool all day and they're out, so I can run it for, you know, it has like a 45-minute eco cycle, so I can run it for one cycle after the water has settled and all the sand has settled and the kids have got out of the pool, and pull it out, and then I can run it again in the morning with everything else that's settled, and it will keep the pool water just that little bit cleaner without having to run power, because running the pool pump is already a bit of a draw on power, so having something else run was never particularly feasible for us. So after running it this morning that we're showing you here, I cleaned out the filter afterwards, and this is what it looked like. So it picked up a lot of sand, and that's amazing. It also picks up the oils from sunscreen, so the filter is fine enough that as the oil beads from the sunscreen go through the vacuum, it'll hold them in that filter basket, which is great because that always causes issues with keeping your chemicals consistent in your pool, the sunscreen residue. And I'm a bit picky about the kids, and they have to put sunscreen on half an hour before they're getting in the pool, and then multiple times throughout the day. We do have a shade cover over the top of it, but it is you still have reflective light off the, you know, off the water and things like that. So overall, I'm really happy with how it's working. It seems to be exactly what we need to keep on top of the cleanliness of the pool and to keep our pool well done for the whole year, and maybe even be able to keep it clean through winter as well, rather than having to use the water elsewhere within the property. With the eco mode, with the cleaning 3 times a week automatically, you can get it to set it to do that. We probably will pull it out and in because it's a fairly small pool. I don't want the kids to kick it around or anything, but it would be great in winter to be able to put it in there and pull it out to clean it when you need to pull it out to clean it, but have it set as that automatic eco mode of cleaning 3 times a week for that 45-minute clean on one charge. So that would be pretty awesome. If you want to have a look at some other people, because obviously I'm using it in a vinyl pool, and so there's people who are using them in in-ground pools and all sorts of things. So if you want to have a look at other people using them in different situations, then I just searched Aiper pool cleaner when I was looking for Google and on YouTube and anywhere else to see what people had been doing, to see videos similar to this and just see how they were using it and what it looked like before I accepted the model, so that I wanted to make sure that I thought that it looked good, and I was really impressed. It is really big. When Darryl pulled it out, he commented that it was our pool tank, which is pretty cool. So and it's sturdy, but it's not particularly heavy. It's easy enough to get in and out of the water. Obviously when you're first getting it out, it's a bit full of water, but as you know, that water comes out, it's pretty light, it's pretty easy to handle. The kids manage it fine. So really happy with it. So yes, there'll be a link in the description of the video if you want to learn more through Aiper, but I highly suggest searching for the Aiper pool cleaner for other videos like this if you want to do a bit more research on different ways that it's used in different pools and things like that. So this is our chick pen at the moment. We've got 3 different sort of aged chicks in here. We have these little tiny ones that just came out yesterday, which are scattered around. We have our goslings there as well, and then we have the slightly larger chicks that were the second batch to come out, and then we have the 3 bigger ones that the turkey raised. So these ones are the oldest, and then we have these second lot, and you can see we've got lots of Araucanas with the little mohawk head things, and then we've got a frizzle, and we've got some well summers and some hamburgs, and then the goslings. And Lamington has decided that she does not like being left out. Here, Lamington, what's she doing? Hey? A bit tall for you to come over? So we've got all the different aged chicks here at the moment. And as they get older, we'll split the roosters from the hens, and we've got a lot of different Morans as well. This is the larger frizzle from a previous hatch. So he's in here at the moment. We're not real sure what we're doing, whether we're keeping him or he'll go through a cull, so we'll have to see how it goes, but he's there. This is it's dinner time, so all the birds are coming around. So we've got the turkey visiting, looking for some food, and the guinea fowl all sort of looking for some food as well. And everything else is pretty much the same for anyone who's been here before. We've got all the mixed pen of chickens here.
The girls in there are all pretty.
A mixed pen of colours. Here we get mixed eggs from all different colours. I think the eggs have already been collected. And we've got Fox Junior and Rainbow Junior are the roosters in this pen. I'm going to put the lid back on that feeder too that's off. And the boys are going to come out and do the water because that's the time. And we've got all our normal ducks still going here. We have a Hamburg pair in with the ducks here just because they needed a pen when we needed pens for other things. But all the ducks, the duck ponds, everything's empty too.
And other eggs because they ate the other ones.
So all our Muscovies in here as well. My camera's overheated, so I've had to pull the phone out. This is our other mixed pen. This is where all the rescue hens were that we got from the egg farm, but all of them have passed away except for one, I think. Yeah, so I think she's the only rescue left alive. So they all just passed slowly. We've got 2 runner ducks in this pen. So we had a bunch of runner ducks, and don't drink that, Missy. Lamington. We had a bunch of runner ducks, and we only have 2 left now, and they live in this pen with Rainbow, but she's actually nesting at the moment, which is kind of neat. So, but we'll see if she wants to hatch those or not. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But with the chickens in the same pen, it could be an issue too, because chickens have a tendency to eat their babies. And this is our oldest rooster. This is Rainbow. He's not doing fantastically well. He's very slow, very old, but we're letting him just live his life out before we put a different rooster in here.
There's another broken one. They're eating their eggs.
Yeah, well, you need to collect the eggs more often. Lamington, away from the feeder, please.
Also, he did create us the most baby chickens, didn't he?
Yes, we've hatched a lot of that. Gate's open.
I feel like
We've hatched a lot of Rainbow's chickens. Now, the other thing we're go and close the gate, please, quick. The other thing we're working on at the moment is the roofing in here. So we purchased some of these metal RHS pieces, and what we're doing is we're creating roofing with them with shade cloth. So we've done half of this here. We got eggs for so far today. We've created the roofing with the shade cloth here, and this is going to work really well attached to these metal rods, but we just haven't, this is as far as we've got. This pen, there was some escaping, so we had to put some up here, but we're eventually going to cover every pen with these metal roofing supports with the shade cloth, and it makes it much cooler in here. The netting it keeps on getting destroyed. It just keeps on falling apart, so instead we're going to stick with the lightweight shade cloth for the roof. It's just another.
Open that hole over there so he can jump in and get the mice.
Yes, one of our cats really likes to come in here at night time and catch the mice that are always hanging around chicken pens, so that's his access point apparently. And I think the last thing I wanted to share was about the deck. So anyone who's been around for a while knows that we built this extension not that long ago. It's fantastic. It's new bedrooms and a new breezeway space and all the rest of it. But we were doing it in winter, and we had to get it all sealed up as quickly as possible and do what we could do. The idea was, though, that we'd have all these gorgeous glass doors that could open up, and we could have it open all the way through and have airflow all the way through during summer. The problem we ran into was that the geese really liked the bottom of the doors. They were chewing at the wood on the bottom of the doors, so they need to be covered so that the geese can't get to it. So we have just this roofing iron up against it at the moment to protect the doors, and I have some enamel and some fill that I'm going to fix the bottoms of the doors with. But what we decided we needed to do was to cover these doors, and to do that we're going to build a little bit of a deck. And the idea being that eventually the idea that we were going to have is that I was going to get a bit of a studio out here. Excuse the mattress that got dumped out and we haven't got it around the front yet. So we were going to use the bottom of the IBC thing to start firewood storage with some of this stuff that we've cleared, and build the little studio space just there in front of the chicken pens. But in the meantime, what we can do is have this sealed off, and I can use out here. So that's why we took it all the way past the doors to the back here. So I want to put a little chair and table or something at the end here that I can sit out here, and we're going to screen the whole thing off so that these doors can be left open, but nothing can get in. The geese can't get on the deck because they tend to get on the decks and poop and stuff like that. So we're going to fence, we're going to put a balustrade all the way around and put screening all the way across. Now we do have to get roofing. We don't have any roofing yet, so I need to find some second-hand roofing, preferably the same way that we did this stuff, which was done with a C-channel and insulated roofing, to come off this way. So I'm on the hunt for some second-hand insulated roofing sheets to be able to do this, and we ended up going out 2.4. We didn't really need to go 2.4, but we thought we may as well, because it just gives us more space, and the more space we have, the better. So at the moment we've got it going all the way to the back door that we have a screen on, because at the moment you have to exit the house to come and open and close that door, because it's just screened to protect, and there's storage there. So once we get this done, it'll all be screened off all the way to that door, so that we can actually open and close the door without having to exit the house or anything like that. As usual, everything's in flux. We've got we ran out of decking timber. This was secondhand decking timber that we had. We've run out of it, so we're going to have to buy some new stuff. We're using the plastic feet that have a 200 kilo capacity per foot, and it's done at I think it was 550 mil joist width and 600 mil feet width, which is allowing for that 200 kilo per foot, so it's got plenty of capacity to hold walls and stuff on here as well. And I think that's about everything that I wanted to cover. So that's our update. We've got the pool going, with the gardens going, we've got the back deck going, and then the next video I will do the planning for this month's supply run, and we'll go over food type update stuff. So for the moment I think that's it. So you'll have to excuse the all over the place video that this ended up being, and hopefully all the information is accessible anyway, and the different volumes and stuff I'll just have to, you know, adapt to different days and clothing and you know, all the rest of it. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next one.